大家好，我现在呢在悉尼附近的中央海岸，这儿有一个很有名的海滩，叫做 Copacabana， 是吧？这个海滩啊，当然今天我们不是来看海滩景色的，但是呢，我们往这儿走啊，往这儿走，大家看到没有？这个在我身后这个地方有一个悬崖，是吧？上面有一些房子嘛，房子最高点的地方呢是有个树林的，树林再过去呢是整个这一带地段最好的地方。澳大利亚总理阿本尼西呢就在这个地方买了一栋房子。但是有意思不是这个啊，我们不是来逛豪宅的，而是呢有一个人呢在他房子的这个门口扎营了啊，专门就抗议他说，哎，我都快没房子住了，你住这么好的房子，我们一起去看一下。好了，就是这儿了啊，你看这架了一个房车啊，就是那种车拖的那种房车，然后上面打着横幅 ，Everyone deserves a home。原来他后面写的 Albert 嘛是总理的名字嘛，然后据说呢警察过来跟他说了一下，说你这个呢虽然你在公共的这个人行道上是吧，你可以做，但是呢最好名字去掉啊，别难为我们啊，因为这根线啊还是有点微妙的，所以呢他把这个 Albert 的涂掉了，但是你还能看出来下面是他一个网页吧，是吧 ？costoflivingcasualties.com.au， 说你到我们这个网站上去是吧，去把你的这个故事写下来啊，人不在啊，据说人去撒尿去了。
过了一会儿，哥们回来了。哥们名叫摩根考克斯啊，他呢愿意接受我采访。这次他这个事儿啊，其实引起了很大争议，很多人说他居心不良。哎，我呢就给他挖了几个坑，我们来听听他是怎么回答的。
Hi Morgan. Hi. Thanks for having me in your caravan.
You're the first one I've had in here.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I guess a lot of people ask you questions. ABC just ask you some questions.
Right? No, ABC didn't ask any questions at all. They just took photos and drove off. I guess they're going to write a hit piece on me, I guess. And they didn't want to talk to me. I went up to him and asked him, do you want to talk to me? And he said, no.
Can you guess the title? The title of their story? Probably...
Crazy right-wing extremist camps in front of Albo's, something like that, maybe.
Are you? Are you?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm not asking for anything crazy at all. I just want attention to the cause, and I feel it's really important.
Yeah. So. Well, when I check your story online, and there's a very short YouTube video saying that this guy is a liar.
This man is intentionally lying to you about the cost of living crisis.
You hate all the non-white migrants like me.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's so upsetting. It's really hurtful. They took videos and they've cropped bits out of them and just twisted it to make me look like some kind of monster or something. I'm not even against immigration at all. My partner's an immigrant, by the way. Mm-hmm. My own partner is an immigrant, And if I'm homeless, she's homeless too. So, not to mention our 3 kids. So, yeah, it's just crazy. And they try to demonize me and, just why? Like, why are they against the homeless and the poor? Like, what do they think?
I guess because the election is quite sensitive. Yeah, you're protesting here. I guess it hurt a lot of people, right?
Hurt them? How did I hurt them?
Yeah, because this Albanese, and you're protesting against Albanese, who is
I'm not protesting against him. I'm just trying to get his attention.
So let's say if Peter Dutton win the next election, would you protest in front of her?
Absolutely.
If I do the same.
If I knew where he lives, absolutely.
You promise?
Yeah, I promise. In a heartbeat. If I need to know where he lives, then I need to be able to physically do it. But yes, absolutely.
Okay. I watched this interview of Peter Dutton and people asking him about housing crisis, right?
Yeah.
And they said that his son is also in a housing crisis. His son couldn't afford his own house apartment.
I am saving up for a house, and so is my sister Beck, and a lot of my mates. But as you've probably heard, it's almost impossible to get in the current state. So I mean, we're saving like mad, but it doesn't look like we'll get there in the near future. But we'd love that to change.
And they asked, would you help your son to buy a house? And he basically said no.
So then are you planning to act as the bank of mum and dad, like so many Australian families are having to do?
Well, I made the point in my speech yesterday, I don't want to be accepting a situation where only mums and dads who can afford to give their kids help, that they're the kids that can buy homes. It's just not acceptable in our country.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that?
No.
You don't believe that?
No.
You think just made us sorry just for the election?
I think so. I mean, I think that they all do that. All the politicians do that, I think. Well, it seems to be that way.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I can't imagine, if someone asked me, am I going to help my sons get a home? Of course I can. If I can, of course I will. And Dutton, I think, has even more money than Albanese. I mean, I've never seen their bank statements, but I've heard.
But I think they publicly to disclose their assets, right?
Oh, well,
Their properties or
yeah, I'm not claiming to be an expert. I'm just a man with a sign here, so just
Mm-hmm.
don't expect me to know too much. But but I don't know myself. I don't know their personal financial situations. But I've heard that that Albanese has less money than Dutton. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Besides all the other questions about the housing prices, actually, I have more questions because I was from China.
Sure.
And a lot of things I cover is about China. Because a lot of people from China, they cannot imagine a protest like this. Like you have a caravan in front of the house of a top leader, the national leader, and you have been a week here, being here?
It's not quite a week yet, but yeah, several days. Yeah.
Are you sure it's legal? Like,
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's legal. I know because they've sent the federal police out here. That's the really, and I've had the highest ranking police officer in the land
From
around,
this area.
from this area around here as well. And they drive past pretty regularly every day.
But they did ask you to cover the name of the album. Is that
No. So what they asked me to do was to take down the sign on the basis of it being political. And I asked, well, how is it political? Because everyone deserves a home doesn't seem political to me. But they said because it had Albo's name on it. So I redacted Albo's name.
Yeah.
So now it doesn't say Albo, it just says everyone needs a home and therefore is no longer political. So I hope that it's now okay. We had a senior inspector come past and he didn't ask me to take down the sign. So
okay?
I assume
I guess it's all right.
it's all right. I'm sure if it wasn't, he would have either asked me to take it or he would have taken it himself.
First of all, why is it a problem if it's political? This is a protest, right? Any
Yeah.
protest is political, I guess.
I guess, but again, I'm not against any particular political party. Albanese is the leader of the country, I guess. He's the prime minister, and he's in a political party. But I'm really directing it at the entire government, and I guess in a way he sort of stands for the whole government. So this is directed at the government, and this is the only way I had to physically actually do it.
Okay. Just to be clear, if it's another person, like a ordinary person, it's not Albo. It's like, for example, Bob, who's living in the house, and you have a protest here against Bob, that's going to be a problem.
I have no idea. I got to say I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
But like I said, it's really just designed to get the attention of the media, to bring it to what I feel is a really important issue for literally millions of people.
Yeah.
So I think, I haven't heard anybody. It's been very little fuss. There's been cameras here a few times, but I've spoken to the neighbours. They're very lovely. I gave them a gift at Easter, and
Albo's neighbours.
Yes, and even his tenants themselves that live in his house. They're very lovely, and they support me as well.
Thank you for what you're doing.
I hope that I hope it's going to help a lot of people.
I mean, of course, surely everyone wants people to have homes, right?
Right.
I mean, it seems like a common sense thing for me
Yeah.
to say, and I don't see how it should be offensive to anyone. And I'm not making any noise. There's no rally. There's no protest. There's no big signs
It's
or
quiet
loud.
protest.
Yeah, it's very quiet.
Just quiet opinion expressing.
Yeah, that's right. And then just trying to bring attention to the matter, but without hurting anyone. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of that.
So all the abuse is actually from internet, not from the local area. Did anyone just come over and just say?
A couple of people, and I feel like they might be upset that I have. I guess some people might feel personally attacked, or that I have somehow personally attacked Albanese, but that would be their misunderstanding, because, and I tried to explain it to them as well.
Yeah.
But I'm not personally attacking anyone. I'm not angry at anyone, and I would love to personally talk to Albanese. I'd love to just chat to him, just like man to man, no cameras, nothing, just like we are here. I'd love that.
Okay.
And just discuss it with him, because millions of people are hurting, like really hurting. We've got old ladies living in cars. We've got families living in tents with babies.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's a horrible situation. And, I'm not asking for anything radical, but I do need this to be addressed. It needs to be addressed. It can't be ignored any longer. And it's getting worse very quickly.
Yeah. Obviously, there's no homeless in this area. Like people who can afford a beach house will not be homeless.
Okay, so first of all, there's probably homeless people everywhere. They're camping in the bushes, and around here, that is, when I say around here, within sort of 50 kilometres of here, there's a lot of people living just in tents, sort of in the bush, back from beaches and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's people living in cars and in car parks and stuff. And generally, if they're in a public space where they can be seen, they moved on. So if there's any around here, they would have probably been moved on, and then try to find somewhere where they're out of sight, because the government just doesn't want them being seen.
Yeah.
Which is itself is upsetting. That's very upsetting. I feel like the government should be helping them, not just pushing them out of the way.
Yeah. So you said that about a year ago, you almost became homeless. Your whole family almost became homeless.
Yes.
And the area, I think you live in Gosford, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Gosford. The areas you live in, a lot of homeless people. They are living in their cars, in shopping center, car park, or something like that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about your personal experience of this?
My personal experience
Personal
of the
experience
other
of your
people?
family and the people around you. Yes.
Okay, so those are two separate things. But my personal experience was I had a difficult financial year. I had some big expenses. I had a very serious car breakdown. Repairs that were required, and I had some very big bills come in, and then on top of that I got a $10,000 a year rent increase, which would have absolutely broken me. Rent increase notice. Thankfully for me, my landlord was very, very gracious and has given me a lease now, so I'm okay now. Our family's okay. We've been given a lease with a much smaller rent increase, and I've managed to get by with having sorted out the bills and stuff. So yeah, we got through that, but many people haven't, including in the local area. Up in Gosford, there's people living in tents just in the bush very close to my house. There's two people living on the same street as me, living in vans. There's a lovely elderly lady living in a car at the local park, like at a shopping centre. And I think there's heaps more people just all over the place. They're sort of out of sight, but they're around. If you look, you'll see them.
Okay.
And that's just Gosford. They're everywhere. Apparently, there's far more of them towards the southern end of the coast. And I can imagine Sydney, Newcastle, all over Australia. There's hundreds of thousands of people homeless already. And I think the last report I saw from 2022, and so that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But that said that there was about 3 million people facing homelessness. So there's very likely many more homeless now, and there's probably very many more people facing homelessness.
That's the number, 3.5 million people.
Something
came
like
from.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So that is an estimate. I'm not an expert. I've been talking to some experts, but I don't have all the numbers. And I'm just a man with a sign, and I'm just desperate to get the message across.
So all the Gosford people, homeless people in Gosford, are they getting more and more people homeless? Or?
Yes. There were people that had their own places that now can no longer afford that, and they're now being forced to share. So now there's many people sharing. There's 2-bedroom apartments, and there's 2 families living in them. And so people are sort of being squeezed into these small houses, more and more people in the smaller houses that is not suitable for them. And then eventually people get squeezed out even of those. It's just an untenable situation. Too many people are suffering.
Yeah.
And, you know, we spend hundreds of billions of dollars on these election promises. And I feel like it's abhorrent to just ignore these poor elderly people living in their cars in hot days. Like, it's a desperate situation. I don't have figures, but I imagine people are literally dying, literally dying from this situation. And I feel like the government needs to do something urgently.
What exactly do you think government should do urgently, like in short term and in long term?
Okay, so I'd just like to, first of all, I'm not an expert. But I have some ideas, and I have talked to some experts. So the first thing, and the thing I said on the Q&A, I'm not sure if you've seen the Q&A.
Yeah.
I want to know, is the government going to cut immigration to match housing availability, or are we just going to keep going until every regular working Australian is homeless?
The first thing I said on that, I was asked them to reduce immigration, or to manage immigration to a level that we can sustain, that we can manage. So if we have so many houses, only bring in enough people that can fit in the houses that we have, so that people are not forced onto the street. Be that the people coming in themselves. Of course, they're also facing homelessness. If there's not enough homes, there's not enough homes. So first of all, manage that. I feel like if we manage that, then that will take the pressure off and give us a bit time. At least no more people will be made homeless while that's happening. The test case for that, of course, we had COVID. We closed the borders over COVID. Rents went down, rental availabilities went up. People were able to get houses. So that's the first test case. The second test case is Canada. Canada recently closed their borders, and when I say closed them, I think not completely, but they've reduced immigration. Their rental prices come down. Homeless people have found homes. People who were in poverty because their rent was so high have been brought out of poverty every month since, and it's just getting better and better. It's just a win-win. Millions of people lives are improving dramatically just from that. And then once we've done that, we have a chance to talk about, and again, I'm not an expert, but we have a chance to talk about things like tax reform. I understand some people have an opinion about capital gains tax and negative gearing that might help. Of course, building houses, fantastic, that's great. It's just that it takes time. So we need time to do that. So building houses. I would love if we could talk about universities. I think we had 200,000 foreign students in February alone. So I would love it if the universities that are getting paid an absolute ton of money would use some of that money to just build dormitories or accommodation for them. And that doesn't seem unreasonable. And I don't think that universities get taxed either. So I'm pretty sure that instead of just piling on the profits, they could use that to accommodate some of the students, and then that would take that many people out of beds that other people can sleep in. So I feel like that would really help. And again, you could match the number of students to available beds. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of other things, and I'd love to talk about all of them. But I just went for immigration first because I know that's a thing that can take the pressure off right now.
I guess that's why they call you migrant hater.
Yeah, I know. And it's, it's so upsetting because I'm not against immigration. My partner's an immigrant. We would love to bring a family here, but what good would it be if they were homeless?
Exactly. Like which degree would you like to see the migrants to reduce to? Labor is like right here, liberal is like here, and One Nation is like here. Yeah. Like which degree would you like to see?
Well, I think, look, I'd recommend consulting an expert. I'm not that. I think I've spoken to a couple of economists, and if I was the government, of course, they should cross-check this. But I think somewhere in the region of 100,000 a year is probably manageable based on how many houses we build per year. About 100,000 a year.
A year. Net migrants, like including non-permanent resident?
I'm not sure. I'm not an expert. I've spoken to some economists, and I didn't clarify that with him.
Okay.
So
I guess they're talking about permanent residents.
Perhaps,
permanent
probably,
resident.
probably.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I didn't clarify that with him. Like I said, not an expert. Sorry.
It's all right.
All I'm calling for is
But I just checked. It's even if it was 100,000, it's even lower than what One Nation is proposing right now.
Right.
One Nation is proposing, I think it's 110,000 a year. Yeah.
Well, that probably sounds about right. Well, they might have got the same information as me then, because I just asked for a round figure.
Yeah.
So that might be the same.
Do you happen to have like a preference, like if we reduce the migrant number to that small number, right? We have to do more screening. Like we need to get the best people.
Yes.
To Australia. Do you have a preference, like a rich people or younger people or people who speak better English, things like that?
Okay. I hadn't really thought about that in terms of a preference for who comes in. I guess, look, my partner is from a poor background, so if I say rich people only, then that's going to exclude poor people. That seems unfair. I'm just thinking on the fly now because I wasn't prepared for that question. Okay, so here is a preference that I think would be a good idea. If someone comes here and says they're going to be a doctor, then they should be a doctor. So I think that the government should follow them up to make sure they're doing the thing that they came here to do, or something of sort of equal value. I do believe, I heard something like 50% of the people who come here on a skilled migrant visa don't do the thing that they came here to do.
Yeah.
So I would definitely preference the people that are actually going to do it. So I have no doubt we need doctors. We need
skill sets. Is a top priority for you to.
Well, if we're choosing among the people that are already coming in, I think I would preference the people who are actually going to do the thing they said they're going to do. If they're just coming here because they just want to invest in property or something, then I feel like that's less important.
Makes it even worse.
Yeah, that's right. If someone's coming here because they want to be a doctor, and then if they're willing to actually be a doctor, then that's helpful for everyone, including them. I think that's great. But I hadn't really thought that deep into it. As I said, I've seen a problem. I've seen somewhere else propose a solution that seems to work. And I'm just trying to bring that to the attention of the government.
To my knowledge, doctors like to buy houses.
That's true. Actually,
like to invest in
I heard that the biggest investors are actually doctors or surgeons or something. I heard that, And by the way, I'm not against investors either. I have no problem with investors. I have no, I'm a renter. I have no problem with that. That's, I just want people to have homes.
You want government to have more funding for public housing, to build more houses.
Yeah, of course. Yes,
that's
absolutely.
Where the money come from.
The government's spending some money on some crazy things, and I'd like to see. For instance, right? They said was it $10 billion or something for the Housing Future Fund or something. It was called. It was an astronomical amount of money, and what they did was they put it in a bank account, and they were going to use the interest to build houses, but they didn't actually build any. I propose that rather than putting that money in a bank account, where I think it's lost money now because the economy's gone down or whatever, the stock market, instead of doing that, they should have just built the houses with it. So instead of like investing the money and just build the houses.
So just less talking, just spend all the money you propose to spend, just use to build more houses for public housing.
Yeah, public housing. Look, if they want to they're talking about, for instance, like if a person buys a house, the government's going to give them own a share of the house, and that was a thing that was talked about. Then perhaps they could do that with developers. Look, you put this money into it, we'll put this money into it, and sort of build it, and it can be half public housing and half private. Again, not an expert, just ideas.
But I guess you ask the expert, why can't the government build more houses? What is the threshold? What do you think the threshold? Why can't they just build houses?
So first of all, we've got a lot of regulations. There's red tape, green tape. Honestly, some of it seems ridiculous. The idea that a house should have to be Energy Star rated to the nth degree, and I don't think. I think it would be better for a person to have a house that's slightly less engineered and slightly less energy efficient than to not have a house at all. So, for instance, trying to force every house to have this certain level of, if the house can be built much cheaper, not having to meet that standard, unless someone's life is put at risk, I don't think that we should do that.
I guess that's up to different levels of government. There's some council, some state governments.
That's correct.
Not just all the responsibilities of the federal government.
But that said, we have a Labor federal government, and here in New South Wales we have a Labor state government. And I'm quite sure they can at least talk to each other. Like I'm sure that Albo could have a chat with what's his name? I can't remember the premier. The premier of New South Wales. I'm sure they could have a chat and come to an agreement. So I feel like that they could reduce that stuff, and then it would be cheaper, faster, and absolutely. And of course, once we've done that, once we've built houses, we can bring more people again, and that's great. I have nothing against people coming here.
So you're saying that we can resume to the level of migrants once we solved the housing crisis, or at least to some degree.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not against immigration at all. I just want people to have homes. That's all.
You ran as a candidate in the 2016 election.
Yeah, I didn't lie about it.
Yeah. So why are you not running this time?
Hey, for that party, that was 2016. It's almost a decade ago. That party no longer even exists. But I haven't run for candidate. And
Christian Democratic.
Yeah, I think they don't even exist anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah. Why don't you run as an independent?
But so even then, I was asked by the party to help them out, and that's all I was trying to do. And I saw them as a group of people that were trying to help poor people, and that's what I like to do. That's what you can see that, like from now, from what I'm doing here. I'm just trying to help people. I just want to help people.
But even from 2016, when you ran as a candidate, your platform was about housing crisis back then.
No. No. I didn't even. So when you say I ran, I was really just a paper candidate. They just put my name down.
Okay.
We didn't expect to win.
Okay.
It was a safe
favor. You just do them a favor.
Yeah, they just asked me to, and I agreed to do it.
So since when did you start to do things like this? Like this year, or?
This is the first time that I'd been personally affected with that situation.
Yeah.
The first time I'd faced homelessness. Before that, of course, I have a heart to help people. I've had that all my life. If I see a homeless person, I want to help them. That's just what I've always been like. I always like to help people, but this situation is desperate. This is a really big deal, and for me, I can see a tsunami of homelessness coming in the coming years if we don't do something. And I'm not even claiming, like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm not even claiming to be right. I just want to have the conversation. But if we do nothing, if we just keep going the way we are, there's going to be millions of homeless people, and I can't accept that. Not in this country. It's outrageous.
People who argue online against you, they're talking about does a prime minister deserve their own personal life?
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Of course he does.
Because what you're doing right now actually reminds me of 2019. You know what happened in 2019? Scott Morrison went to Hawaii because he promised his daughters that he would go to Hawaii with them while there's a big bushfire going on.
Yep.
A lot of people say that how can you just leave to Hawaii? But I was thinking does a prime minister deserve a personal life, being a father, to be with his family?
Yeah.
Right now, people can argue that Albanese, because I think he just got married, right?
Yeah.
He bought this house just for the new family, new life.
Oh well, he's not living here, so I don't think it's affecting him that much.
Yeah.
And it might be affecting the people there a very, very tiny amount. But like I said, I'm not making any noise. I'm not knocking on their door. I'm not yelling at anyone.
But he didn't do anything wrong, right?
No.
He just bought a house for his family.
I'm not punishing him.
Yeah.
I'm not punishing him.
Okay.
This is not punishment.
Right.
This is not aimed at him directly at all. This is just trying to get attention.
He's just unlucky to be the prime minister.
Well, yeah, that's right. If it was Scott Morrison, I would do the same. If it was Dutton, I would do the same.
Okay.
I'm just trying to bring attention. He's the leader of the country.
Yeah.
Yes, he is the leader of the country, so he's going to get some attention. And I'm sure he knew that when he took the job. He must have known he's going to get some attention. I'm just asking him to have a chat with me, and I don't need to, even a private chat. Just come on down and just talk to me. Man to man. I don't even need, don't have to have cameras or anything. I don't want to make a fool of him. I just want to help these people. That's all. I just want to help people. If he had the time, and I know he doesn't now, this is an election. I don't even expect him to come and talk to me.
Yeah.
But and I understand that. I'm not silly. I do appreciate it, but I'd love to, if I get a chance one day, to just take him around and just introduce him to some people. The elderly lady I was talking about living in a car, or the families living in tents. Just, if he's like anything like me, his heart should break.
Yeah.
He should understand.
I understand that. I understand that. Yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah.
And we need to do something about this, and urgently, right now.
All right. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. I love talking to you.